Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Wrestling Doesn't Make Sense, where me and John talk about professional wrestling and how much sense it makes, etc. So this is gonna be this is a pretty short episode, I think. But recently, a lot of things have come out about the wrestling community that we felt were, very important and impossible to ignore. And we thought we should say something about it. But out of respect, we're gonna keep this pretty short and just say that, you know, it's wild seeing all of these, things happening and the things that are coming out. It's really disturbing. Um,
Mm,
to see so many accusations. Like it's 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 a lot, and we are totally on the side of all the people who came out and said something, because it's a really hard thing to do, in the climate that we're in now. It's a tough thing, and it's so sweet to see all these people kind of rallying together, against, what is total bullshit. it
yeah,
it really is.
it's been such sad and like heartbreaking situation to kind of find out that all this stuff has kind of been going on behind closed doors as well. Like, I don't mean heartbreaking just because, you know, there's wrestlers who've been caught up in it to varying degrees who are like, our favorite wrestlers or wrestlers we enjoy watching in the ring and stuff. But I mean, it's heartbreaking, really, because of the victims who've had to, suffer through this abuse in the first place,
Exactly, yeah.
uh, and like our shock and disappointment in those other wrestlers who've been causing these problems, and is like nothing in comparison to what the victims have had to endure. So, like, yeah, a lot of respect to everyone who's been brave enough to come forward and tell their stories, and uh, you know, speaking out is a big issue, which is hopefully going to lead to major changes in the wrestling business that clearly it needs.
You'd hope so, yeah. For anybody listening to this at some point that don't understand the context, recently there's been a lot of, women have come out and told their stories about abuse in the wrestling business. Um, and there's a lot of stories, man.
Hmm.
There are an awful lot of stories. And it's everywhere. It was in the UK scene, but also like people in America have also been hit pretty hard by that. Yeah, it is. It's wild how like how horrible people can be. You know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like you said, man. It's really heartbreaking to see just the 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 horrible depths that the human soul can go to.
Yeah.
And we both, like, we feel so bad for all the people affected, and um, yeah, but we thought we should address it, and that we are not happy at all. Um, we're opposed to all of this,
Absolutely.
abuse and mistreatment, and like it's bullshit, man. Like it's 2020. Like, why can't we, as men, as men, just kind of fucking wise up and not like try to force ourselves on people. Like, that's horrible. Why
Hmm.
why why are people doing that? You know, we should be better.
Yeah.
100%. Um. So yeah, you guys try to be better out there. It doesn't take much. It literally takes nothing at all to not abuse somebody.
Yeah.
You have to go out of your way for that, and that kind of proves that you're a dick. So there's been a bunch of people have kind of like um lost their jobs, and rightfully so in a lot of the cases.
Hmm.
This has been pretty rough. But I'm interested to see what Ring of Honor are going to do
Mm.
with Marty Scurll as their head booker, because he has come out and not really denied it,
Yeah.
the accusations. You know what I mean? He's kind of offered a bit of a half-hearted apology,
Mhm.
but it doesn't seem to really like exonerate him of any crime. And the accusations against him are very serious.
Yeah.
His seemed to be pretty rough. Like the way he was treating people was like very, very just horrible. So they have him as a booker.
Mhm.
And if you're a man like that with questionable morals who's already tried to pass himself off on women, like once you're a booker, like what are you gonna do then? You know what I mean? Once you're holding um a certain amount of power over people.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Like that could be and at the very moment when Ring of Honor are trying to rebuild their women's division,
Mhm.
like that to me that's a very very important point that Ring of Honor need to address immediately.
Yeah. I mean, you've already seen like other like independent promotions and stuff that have kind of had accusations aimed at like owners or like trainers as well and stuff like that of like inappropriate relationships with like you know, really young girls, like 16, 17 years old, if not younger. Um, and it that kind of predatory behavior and grooming and stuff like that. And those people have been ousted, as they rightfully should be. So if those actions are being taken on the independent scene, then you kind of think, you know, maybe that's going to be the solution for the Marty Skull situation at the very least.
You'd hope so, man. But like, while a lot of the other companies have very quickly kind of acted in response to some of these, for example, like I guess we can talk about these two because like Joey Ryan was removed from Impact,
Hmm.
and whatever network was covering his bar wrestling promotion have cut ties with him.
Yeah.
So, and he's, deleted his Twitter and stuff like this. So it seems all signs seem to point that, he is definitely guilty of something.
Hmm.
Um, and on the same coin, like the WWE disposed of Jack Gallagher very quickly.
Yes.
I haven't even heard the Jack Gallagher things because there was so much information. But the Jack Gallagher stuff, I don't even know what happened. But he was like fired and then removed from the website completely. So I'm like, holy shit, he must have done something really bad.
Well, I think we won't get into specifics, but with Jack Gallagher, I'm assuming that the case there was unlike other like WWE contracted wrestlers who've had allegations made against them. I think he didn't actually deny it. I don't think he remembers, from what I've read, the incident or, um, is denying it as such. But he's basically, yeah, he's come out and said, well, he hasn't come out and said anything, but
Mm.
I think he couldn't put his hand on heart and say, no, I didn't do that. And so that kind of gave WWE no choice but to fire him, I guess.
Well, that's the way it is. Big companies are taking action.
Hmm.
They are making waves. They are doing stuff, and that's important
Yeah.
to see these people kind of standing up and doing all this stuff. That's the way it should be. You know, you shouldn't have to put up with that kind of crap when you go to work.
No, definitely not.
You shouldn't want the people who fucking work in that business to make going to those shows not fun. To make
Yeah.
it a bad place to be. Like that's not cool at all.
And the thing is, it's not a problem that's just confined to wrestling as well. I mean, like you can look at the Harvey Weinstein situation that was going on for years and years, or like Louis C.K. sexually harassing women and Like even like as part of the speaking out movement, there's stuff going on in like the comics industry and the gaming industry as well. Like this isn't just a wrestling thing, but that doesn't mean that the situation can be ignored or taken lightly anymore. Like I think you hear a lot of these stories were sort of open secrets that people were kind of aware that something was going on, but they actively chose to, turn their gaze away from it, and you just can't do that anymore. Now, more than ever, they've got to start, changing the culture, changing it early as well. So, there's no place for predators to kind of get in and groom their victims, or have a chance to uh, pressure people into sex, or bully people, or homophobia, racism, any of these kind of issues. Like wrestling needs to be a safe, inclusive space for everyone, be it wrestler or fan. So this is where changes need to be made, and where they sort of need to be made at the very root of wrestling. So none of this bad stuff can, keep happening anymore.
Hell yeah, man. Like all this shit needs to stop. Like I don't fucking understand it, man.
Mm,
But I don't know. Hopefully this is gonna really make waves and really make things change. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, people are quick to deride 2020 as one of the worst years ever. And to be fair, I could totally see where they're coming from. But I also feel like a lot of things coming out of this year are going to change
Yeah.
across like every facet of everything. And I hope this is going to be one of those things that like this is the moment, like this is the thing that stamps this shit out. And so like it's a reset. It's like a reset on everything. Everything's we're getting shit sorted, you know what I mean? And we're not putting up with this stuff anymore. Fucking fix it. Or we're
Yeah.
gonna dismantle the system and we're gonna build it ourselves, So I think once wrestling organizations are going to be able to live tour, like the indies and stuff like that, once they're able to tour and train again, there's gonna be like a change in everything. And I think it's gonna be a much more positive, a much better place, because we're gonna be able to kind of weed a lot of these horrible people out, and make it a better place for everybody.
Yeah, and I think it's to the credit of a lot of these independent promotions as well, that they're saying that they're not, even with like, lockdown starting to ease up and stuff, and the potential to be back running shows is starting to, creep around the corner. But like they're saying that they're not going to even consider running shows until they've got a system in place where this kind of stuff won't happen anymore. Like Progress Wrestling has already announced like big structural changes with like a brand new management team, and like a 50-50 split between the men and women in charge of the company. Like Riptide and Attack Pro Wrestling have both said that they're not going to run any shows until they've got their own systems in place, and that's kind of necessary, because that's more important than them going back to business and brushing things under the carpet and going back to the way things were. And you can't do that now. And it's just, I think they deserve credit for looking to lead the way and make these changes, so this kind of thing can't happen again.
Right, like changes across the board to make sure people are safe at their events. In that, they're vetting their rosters and making sure that, there's no scumbags on the shows, but also that whenever they do run live shows, they're safe to do so, and so that people can go to their shows and, with no fear of being sick or infected or anything like that.
Yeah.
So really take care of business across the board, and that's the kind of thing you want to see from all of the promotions is to be smart about it, and to be smart about like everything else that's going on in the world right now, and to be professional about it. And so hopefully this will make a big change, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing as well, because like change isn't something that's impossible, it's inevitable. So it's just a case of making sure it's changed for the better.
Right. And I think it will be after all this. I think it will be. So that's a little bit of optimism, I guess. We're still a ways away from that, but Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
It was built in 2 days. They were very efficient, those Romans. Very efficient, they got shit done. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, so we just wanted to kind of address these, the crazy times that we live in, and say that fuck those horrible people.
Yep.
And I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say really, except fuck them all.
Right. So, we're gonna keep things short for this week's episode. Basically, we are excited about the fact that we're gonna see some real change based on what we've seen coming out this past week, and we're with all the victims. I'm gonna put like a little link to somewhere you can donate in the description to help like some of these victims out. If that exists, I don't know if that exists. If it does, then I'll do that, and if it doesn't, I will cut this bit out as well.
There should be some links as well to like contact numbers for
just any forms of abuse, domestic abuse, or workplace abuse or anything like that. If you've got an issue or anything like that, and you need to talk to some people, we'll try to include some links for all that stuff too. Because it's not acceptable anywhere in any degree. But what do we know? Like we're just 2 guys who make fun of wrestlers on the internet. So we're dangerously unqualified to talk about this. But we stand with you guys, and you're the best. We're thinking about you guys. So good luck. You guys need it. And we're with you guys. So thank you very much for listening. Stay safe. And, keep up the good work, guys. But thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. So, goodbye.